Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos, a rangy Muay Thai contender in the women's strawweight division versus probably the most powerful puncher in the division now that Jessica Andrade has moved up to flyweight. Folks, we got a banging main event on our hands. We actually have a fantastic card that's leading up to another pay-per-view. How it creeps up on us, but you already know what time it is, folks. Listen, breaking down this card with me, as always, is the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber, my man, AJ, my man who actually got a dub last week. Now, we weren't able to cover it, my man, but if you actually take a look down below and you see the scorecards, things are tight. Things are looking close. AJ, my man, if you want to give a quick explanation, right? Clearly, people can see I'm a little jacked up on over here. We had some stuff go down. I had jiu-jitsu tournaments and all that. We couldn't do a post-show. It was a fantastic night of fights, but at the end of the day, man, listen, we coming back for the preview show. Talk to the people, though, man. What happened?
Folks, just so you know, man, it goes hard over here all the time. The grind never ends, man, whether it's extracurricular sports, whether it's the fight game, whatever it is, man. Sometimes these old bag of bones take a little bit of time. And I know Derick's not quite there yet, but when you hit past 30 years old, sometimes your body starts to break down, folks, and sometimes you're just unlucky and you catch a knee to the face like my boy Derick. I didn't even ask if it was a knee. Might have been a hand. Either way, homie gets caught in the face. Knees hurting, things are going on, folks, but that's why we weren't here last week for you. But you know what, like I said, the grind never ends. We're back again. It's maybe not stronger than ever, but a little bit of time to relax and do a little bit more fight research for hopefully better for y'all folks, man.
Absolutely. I mean, that's pretty much the primary coverage of it overall right there. That is what happened. And yeah, my man, it was not a knee. I think it was a hand. I think it was a knuckle or a thumb or a something, man. I don't know. But here's the lesson. You don't smash somebody like 15 straight takedowns in a row and then you finally go for the last one and that's when you get caught. I mean, that's just kind of like the universe playing in hand, right? Either way, that's neither here nor there. Folks, I do want you to take aim right now. We're recording this and it is, AJ, what are we at, November 3rd? Brother, a month and some change and this competition is done. And folks, I want to remind you guys, because we're going to jump straight into this main card, not recap, but preview right here for UFC Vegas 64, Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos. But I want to remind you what we're fighting for, folks. Just 1 second. I know y'all see
season, folks.
I know you see that one. That's mine back there, but I want this shiny one. This is shiny. This is new. I love this logo, right? And at this point right now, this is literally, you want to talk betting odds? This is a pick'em between me and my man AJ in terms of who's going to be showcasing this. We're either going to have a double champ or we're going to have a 1-in-1, 2 champions here on this program. I want you to take another look at it. Bloody Water Podcast 2022. Undisputed champion. That's what we're fighting for. Don't forget, folks. Don't forget. You know what time it is. But we're not here to talk about accolades because, listen, man, you can't sit here and proclaim yourself as the champion until you actually are the true campeon. So let's get it, man. Folks, if you haven't subscribed yet, please drop a like, subscribe. We're at like 400-ish, 30-ish, 40-ish, something. We're in a, listen, we got a small army, I mean a large army, honestly. 400 people, brother, that's 300 plus 130 more. Let's get it. Subscribe, you know what time it is. AJ, let's talk about these fights, brother. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
And what better way to kind of kick this episode off by just jumping straight into a rangy Muay Thai striker versus arguably one of the most impactful punchers in the division, right? You could argue, AJ, I think in multitudes that Marina Rodriguez has been a clear contender for the championship in the strawweight division for a long time now, but she has just had bad luck. And there has been a popularity queue. There has just been people coming in and out of the division who kind of have that bigger name, that larger star power, so they get the opportunity. But you can also argue, AJ, that Amanda Lemos, somebody who didn't have the greatest luck in the beginning of her UFC tenure, has been on a rampage, and other than getting a standing arm triangle choked by Jessica Andrade, she's basically destroyed everybody within her path. And this is an opportunity right now, even though she is coming off of an interesting fight, right, against Michelle Waterson-Gomez. This is an opportunity to win a title eliminator and potentially fight the winner of, it just depends, Carla Esparza versus Weili Zhang, that's going to be taking place here soon. How, I don't want to say jaded are you, but you got to feel for Marina Rodriguez, man. What does she have to do to truly solidify herself as I'm that number one person?
Yeah, it's weird, man, because I feel like we've been shouting the praises of Marina Rodriguez for years already on this show, man. We've been talking left and right about her, and nonetheless, the boxing is very impressive. And anytime when you can knock somebody out 2 times in a fight like Marina Rodriguez did to Amanda Hebos, I mean, I feel like you got enough star power going for you, but apparently not, man. I don't know what Marina Rodriguez has to do, except for now she has a position presented in front of her where one of the most exciting, dynamic, powerful kind of new stars that's really come into play. Now you're facing up. You're lined up against her. Now we actually see Marina Rodriguez. Now I'm thinking you put up a show, start putting those long combos together, long ranging knockout for Marina Rodriguez. I feel like you're almost undeniable for that number one contender spot. I like what you're talking about, Derick, saying that this is a title or a title contender elimination fight, because I hope so. I feel like these two girls are the ones we're going to be seeing going for the belt for quite a while. And with the shuffle up that's happening between Thug Rose, Carla, Wei Lee, like that whole top little situation we got going on, I feel like these two we're going to be seeing their names in the stars for quite a while, man. What do you think? Why has Marina Rodriguez not had that kind of solidification as a star? But Amanda Lemos, on the other hand, is it her fighting style that's really propelled her, or is it something else?
Took the words right out of my mouth, brother. I was going to say it right there. I mean, okay, if you look at it, right, both fighters have 6 wins in the UFC. Right? It doesn't seem like it, but both fighters have 6 wins in the UFC. If you look at Amanda Lemos, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions, and 2 decisions, right? If you look at Marina Rodriguez, 1 knockout, 5 decisions. Why do you think one is more popular than the other? It's because Amanda Lemos cracks like somebody who's not supposed to be able to crack at 115 pounds. This is the real question right here, AJ, before we talk X's and O's. Marina Rodriguez's last loss was to none other than the current champion, Carla the Cookie Monster Esparza, right? So if Weili Zhang didn't have such a definitive victory over Joanna Champion, right, I think that this was the fight that this fight shouldn't be taking place. It should already be Rodriguez getting another fight against the champion, right? She's probably clearly like top contender. All right, let's go. Now, I think if you take it even further back, if Carla Esparza never would have won the championship and if Thug Rose would have had the championship, I think Marina Rodriguez would have got her shot. I honestly do. Think about it, man. Like, at the end of the day, Weili Zhang, look at her situation, look at Rose. It's like this kind of entendre over here. The point is, we have somebody who doesn't get the respect that they deserve and who I think is kind of getting overlooked here, even in this fight against Amanda Lemos. But let's talk about the other side. X's and O's, man. You have a switch fighter, Amanda Lemos, tall, rooted, ready to drop one down on you. Marina Rodriguez, on the other hand, she's okay going backwards. She doesn't mind it. But this is the big key. Whose style, fight style, right, will pass the test of time over 5 rounds? Because I think Marina Rodriguez has that style where she can get down the first round, maybe even the second round. But rounds 3, 4, and 5, that's going to be her style, her pace. Amanda Lemos, she could absolutely end this fight in the first 2 rounds. But what can she do rounds 3, 4, 5? That's the question, brother. So give me your take.
Yeah, Derick, I agree with you entirely, man. It comes down to gas tank and the way you're kind of pushing the pedal. I think what you're leading to right here is Marina Rodriguez has that slow, steady burn where she's kind of easy on that gas pedal, if you will, where Amanda Lemos is bap, 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 just draining them left and right. But then with that comes the power. So that's where we're seeing the finishing capabilities, of Amanda Lemos versus that death by 1,000 touches of Marina Rodriguez. Personally, I like the Rodriguez style in this one, but man, you do have to love when you're seeing women finishers at the 115 pound division, real super straw weights over here, man. Tiny girl fighters, but packing a lot of power as Amanda Lemos. Man, like I said, I like this. I like the technique. I like the skill. I like the smoothness of a Marina Rodriguez, But how do you bet against the Amanda Lemos power, brother?
It's hard. It's hard because at the end of the day, if you look at it, if Amanda Lemos says, you know what, I'm going to go southpaw for this fight, right? And Marina Rodriguez says, okay, I'm going to stick to my orthodox. Now you just have a target. She's going to be opening up heavy body kicks, power shots, nonstop, right? And Marina Rodriguez does have a little bit of a tendency from time to time to throw a lazy kick, right? That can get caught with a big hand over the top. Now it would be opposite in this stance. You can catch it with the right hand, throw it with the big power hand with the left hand, right? But the point is this is something Amanda Lemos does all the time. And this is something that Marina Rodriguez does all the time. So when it comes down to it, anybody can get caught. It's a fist fight after all, right? But you got to bank on experience. And this is the key that I want to talk about before we jump into the actual betting perspective of it, right? Marina Rodriguez, clearly a striker. Amanda Lemos, primarily a striker, but we know she got a little ground game too. But so this is what's going through my mind. I'm like, okay, what are the odds that Amanda Lemos says, I'm not going full on striker mode. I want to showcase a little bit of my grappling and I want to control you on the ground. I'm like, that's an issue. But let's look at Marina Rodriguez's repertoire, her record, right? Look at who she's fought recently. Win over Yan Xiaonan, aged very well. Win over Mackenzie Dern, aged very well. Win over Amanda Lemos, where she knocked her out twice, aged very well. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, who now all of a sudden is really leaning into the grappling, right? Karate hottie no more. Grappling hottie now, right? Aged very well, man. Tisha Torres, a win over her. Cynthia Calvillo has a draw. Only lost recently. Carla Esparza, brother. So I'm not really as concerned given that style. If you could, I mean, Mackenzie Dern doesn't have great wrestling, right? But when she gets you on the ground, it's a wrap. Amanda Lemos, I don't think possesses those same powers, so I do think the game plan will be knock her out. I don't know if she can win a decision against Marina Rodriguez given how talented she is, but you tell me, man, is that a similar concern of yours? Do you see the fight taking place a little bit of a different way, or, how does it line up for you?
Derek, the only concern I really see with it are those betting odds right there, man. See that TKO for Amanda Lemos? Blows my mind that the odds makers think that Marina Rodriguez has a better chance of knocking out Amanda Lemos. Because I'm with you, man. I think if we're gonna see a knockout, we're gonna see a finish. It's gonna be from the Lemos camp. And then if we're seeing a classical, technical, put fist to your face kind of fight, that's the Rodriguez fight for me, and that's the way I see it going down. Maybe we're seeing something different. Yeah. Maybe not. I mean, I think when you said Amanda Lemos can catch a kick and then come over with that big power, that right there, I was literally having deja vu. It was like, oh shit, we've seen that before. That can't happen. Yes. We can see a knockout coming that way. Personally, I like that decision. I mean, I don't know about you.
And it's tough because it's still, even to this point, right? This is the point, right? Where it's like we'll say this is who we pick, but we kind of talk it out and then we say this is how I think that they're going to win. And even when I talk it out, I could see Rodriguez winning a decision. I could see Lemos winning via knockout. I could see Lemos winning via submission. I could see Marina Rodriguez winning via knockout. Maybe not a one-hitter quitter, but a TKO, round 4, right? Where you're just like drawing it out and you get her to the spot. Bro, Marina Rodriguez starts dropping some elbows on you. It's going to be a very, very long night, right? At the end of the day, man, I think this is a very fun stylistic clash, but the final question that we have to ask ourselves here, winner of this fight, what is the future looking like for him? Marina Rodriguez wins this fight. You have no choice. You have to literally fight the winner of Jinh versus Esparza, right?
Oh, 100%. I actually think this is one of the rare occasions where both fighters are going to have that kind of option, man. I feel like Amanda Lemos at this point, especially if she gets a finish on Rodriguez, with how deserving of an opportunity Rodriguez is, I feel like Lemos comes in and swoops it with the win right here.
And think about it. Marina Rodriguez last loss to the champion. Lemos last loss is to Jessica Andrade, former champion, who's fighting at 125 pounds, who is about to try to fight for the 125-pound championship. Brother, I mean, this is just like top high level. That's why I say this is such a sleeper main event right here. At the end of the day, we got to talk about the bread and butter, though, man. I like Marina Rodriguez here. It's hard to bet against that experience, even though they both have similar numbers record-wise and all that stuff. It's hard to bet against Marina Rodriguez, who we've doubted time and time and time again, and she has done nothing but show up against the best opposition. I like Marina Rodriguez. Give me the decision victory right here. Better safe than sorry. And clearly, decision. I'm taking the over. Over and under on this fight is, drum roll, 4.5 rounds, brother. Obviously, right? But if you had to guess, what's the over? Is it over, or like what's the odds? Is it favored to go over or to go under?
Over.
Under, brother. But I'm taking the over anyways. I don't care. Let's go. How you got it?
I'm with you, Derek. I'm taking the over as well. I'm taking Marina Rodriguez by points. It makes a lot of sense to me. But don't be surprised, folks, if we're able to see a finish coming in this fight. One side or the other, I feel like that's more of a coin toss here, but I'm rocking with the 125 decision for Marina Rodriguez.
Plus 125 it is. Money in the bank right there. You got to love it. All right, man. Now, on to a very interesting co-main event. The Haitian sensation, man. Neil Magny versus D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Now, you got to look at Daniel Rodriguez, and he was actually slated for a very interesting bout in his last matchup, man. And I'm actually going to pull it up real quick. So Daniel Rodriguez was supposed to fight at the who was he supposed to fight, man? Wasn't it Kevin Holland? There we go. Sorry. He was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, remember? And then it turned into Hamzat Chimaev and all that madness that went down at that pay-per-view. But the point is, you go from one dude who a lot of people thought, it's going to be a tough fight for D-Rod to win. And I picked for D-Rod in that fight. Don't forget that, right? It never happened, but I was like, I think D-Rod can get it done. You switch it against a Neil Magny, and I'm just like, okay, it was already a long shot. Now it's like a really, 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 really long shot. And I'm not saying that because D-Rod isn't a very talented fighter, but let's look at the tail of the tape in terms of just like measurables, right? 6'3", Neil Magny, who's fought the best of the best, who's literally only lost to some of the best grapplers there are recently, which is like who? Wasn't it Michael Chiesa and Shavkat Rakhmonov, right? Like when you're losing to those guys and you're calling out Hamzat, you're a different type of fighter. Daniel Rodriguez, on the other hand, if you look at his last couple of wins, they're big, but are they the most notable, right? You got to win over the Leech. Massive. You got to win over Kevin Lee. All right, that didn't really age as well as we probably would have liked it to, right? You got to win over Preston Parsons. Cool. Mike Perry. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay. You know, D-Rod, you're a fantastic fighter. You got wins over Dwight Grant, Gabe Green, a big win over Tim Means, right? But it's a little bit different than a Neil Magny who has wins over Max Griffin, Jeff Neal, Robbie Lawler, Anthony Rocco Martin, The Leech, Craig White, Carlos Condit, Johnny Hendricks, Kevin Gastelum. The list goes on. AJ, what do you make of Neil Magny's 80-inch reach versus D-Rod's 74-inch reach in a striking contest, man? I mean, D-Rod's going to have to close the distance. Will he be able to do it successfully with the type of style he normally fights with?
One of the toughest styles to deal with against Neil Magny, man. This one's going to be a very, very hard fight for D-Rod, man, especially with the style that he presents of that just kind of brawler marauder is just not necessarily a marauder who's just like, I don't know, thick and like stuck in his ways. But D-Rod really comes to knuckle up, man, and there's nothing really more you can say about him besides this dude's a dog, and having to get on the inside against a dude with an 80-inch reach who knows how to use those hands very, very well, man. It's gonna be fighting an uphill battle for D-Rod, especially with the multiple facets that Neil Magny's good at, man. He's good at grappling, he's good at striking. This dude knows how to stay long, and he's very, very fast and fluid, can move. I don't really see D-Rod getting the best of that kind of peekaboo style to get on the inside, cut off the cage, and make Neil Magny basically sit in a phone booth and kind of fight it out with you. Do you think D-Rod possesses the kind of skills in order to provide that kind of fight, pressure forward, get a guy in a corner and keep him there until you beat him up? Is that something we're going to see out of D-Rod? Because like you pointed out, Derek, a lot of his really big fights and why we were so hyped on him when it was because of his early start in the career of the UFC. Now lately that we're seeing more of that kind of style, more people have film on him, we're starting to see less knockouts, we're starting to see more holes exposed. What do you think?
I think D-Rod is very heavy on his front feet, right, which is a great style to have, especially in this UFC Apex cage, the small cage. Neil Magny is a front foot guy too, you know what I mean? So that's the hard part. Can you win that battle? Can you lead the dance? And I think D-Rod's going to have a really tough time doing that in this fight, specifically because if you overcommit, Neil Magny is going to take you down and he's going to hold you, and it's not going to be fun. Now, D-Rod, on the other hand, though, you got to think about it. I think he could hurt Magny, bro. I think he can actually legitimately hurt Magny in this fight, and I think he can have some of the bigger moments in the fight, but overall body of work, I think Neil Magny is going to edge this one out. Longer, rangier, more versatile, more well-rounded. His fight, I mean, honestly, bro, just look at the last fight. Look at the Shavkat Rakhmonov fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, he got handled by, Shavkat, but he literally is only losing to the best grapplers right now. Daniel Rodriguez last loss was to Nicholas Dalby, which a lot of people thought that D-Rod won the fight. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think Neil Magny is just a different level. He's ranked number 13, but in reality, AJ, what do you think he should be ranked at in this division? Probably not 13.
I mean, I'd say he's top 10 kind of fighter, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, Magny's crazy. Magny's really, really good in a lot of different areas. My question to you, Derek, does D-Rod need a finish in this fight? Because when we were just talking about that right there, in my mind, you can't win a decision if you're going for a finish the whole time. Does D-Rod need that kind of stoppage to get this fight? Because I'm looking at the stats right now, Magny has more decisions. Strangely enough, D-Rod has more knockouts and more submissions.
That's true.
What does he need?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I'm glad you brought that point up because that just made me think about the controversy that we didn't get to talk about last week, right? But look at Dustin Jacoby versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. Do we love Khalil Roundtree Jr. on this program? Of course we do. Did he have the probably bigger, flashier moments in his fight against Dustin Jacoby? Yes. Did he get outstruck by damn near double? Yes, right? So it's like that could be this fight. And that's a weird thing to say, but that could be this fight. Neil Magny could double the output of a D-Rod, but if D-Rod has the bigger moment, he could win. So Short answer, I don't know. Long answer, I don't fucking know, brother. I don't know, man. It's just all up to the judges. So safe to say for both fighters, don't leave it to the judges. Get a finish, right? If you're Neil Magny, get him to the ground, take his back, and choke him out. If you're D-Rod, knock him out. It's as simple as that. May the best man win. However, we got to make a pick. I like the experienced fighter. I always love the fighter that's got the 6-7 inch reach. Seldom do you see them lose to the shorter, stockier fighter unless they got a massive power advantage. And D-Rod does have a weight advantage in this one. You know, he's a big guy. But I like Neil Magny. I like the decision here. I think that D-Rod has a better chance of finishing Magny than Magny does of D-Rod unless he gets him to the ground and TKOs him or submits him. Plus 120 decision. I'm taking the over. Minus 205 for the over at 2.5 rounds right there, brother. So you got to love it. The question is, if you like Magny, how do you like Magny getting it done?
Yeah, Derek, I mean, it's just looking at those numbers, I feel like the smart man takes that plus 120 decision. You're really looking for a gamble. Neil Magny can get a finish, both by TKO and submission, but when's the last time D-Rod has actually been finished? Let me look real quick. Only by decisions. Only by decisions. So I'm right there with you, man. I'm taking Neil Magny plus 120 by decision. I think it's going the distance right here, brother.
Absolutely, man. And I'm just going to say, you can't count any of this stuff up. Even though we look at it and we might say this is ludicrous, Tresean Gore fought Josh Fremd and submitted him at a plus 2,000 submission prop right there. He almost snapped the man's neck with that guillotine. That was fantastic. And I'm sorry, folks, we couldn't recap those fights, but like we have to sprinkle a little bit in over here. You know what I'm saying? That's your play right there. Neil Magny decision plus 120. Take it to the bank. All right, folks. The return, the Vanilla Gorilla, he's back again, man. And you got to love Chase Sherman. You got to love Chase Sherman just because this is a dude who somehow, some way fell back into the good graces of the UFC brass. And just, I don't know, man. How did you go from losing like 5 to like 7 bouts in a row, right? Like literally, UFC record 4-9. And you keep getting opportunity after opportunity. Well, you had a great performance in your last outing when you fought Jared Vanderaa and you knocked him out in the 3rd round in a fight where Jared Vanderaa was pretty much winning the fight, right? And look at what happened to Jared Vanderaa once again this past weekend, right? I'm just saying, this is a spot right here where a Chase Sherman, journeyman Chase Sherman, coming in here, 6 striking, man. This is a former bare knuckle, I think, champion, right? If I'm not mistaken. He's coming in here against a Josh Parisian, who, if you look at it on paper, has the, what's my man's name? AJ, big boy, but you don't play with him. What's his name, brother? You don't know? That's okay. A heavyweight. He's a heavyweight. He's a big boy. Parker Porter. There it is. Parker Porter. You look at a Parker Porter, you look at a Josh Parisian, and you look at Chase Sherman. Because Chase Sherman, I mean, look, he got the slick back hair, the tattoos. He's looking good. He's looking ready to go. You might say, oh, this dude doesn't stand a chance. You'd be surprised. Josh Parisian is the more well-rounded MMA fighter in this matchup. However, AJ, before we talk about X's and O's, minus 125 Chase Sherman. What do you make of it?
If I found that interesting too, man, and I think it's the odds makers falling in love with the new, or not the new flashy toy, but you know that every now and then you go in, you see your old basketball that's been sitting in the corner for years, you kind of just start dribbling around playing with you. Like, man, I forgot how good this thing is. You hit a couple swishes every now and then. You're like, damn, this feels good. I feel like that's what's going on with the Chase Sherman, man. We saw the round, or what was it? I forget what round the Vanderaa TKO happened in.
Third round.
Third round TKO. Either way, we're seeing knockouts come out of the Vanilla Gorilla, and people are getting excited again, man. They're remembering that this dude, and I think, don't get me wrong, I know for sure this is his 2nd time back in the UFC. Might be his 3rd time, for some reason. They're putting Chase Sherman back in the good graces of the UFC, and I think it's because he has the potential for a knockout. Nonetheless, the heavyweight division is kind of sparse. We'll always cover that every time it comes up. But I do think, man, this is an interesting one to realize. I'm not sure if people who've forgotten who Josh Parisian is, or if they're just so excited with the Sherman knockout that we're seeing, and he's kind of familiar. People remember his name. Which one of those, or is there a third option that I'm not thinking of that you think that Sherman's the favorite?
Option number 3. This is the reason why. Josh Parisian in his last fight against an Alan Boudreaux, right? Remember, I told you, Alan Boudreaux is the king of losing fights that he's winning. He's the king of doing it, right? And once again, he did it again. And Josh Parisian didn't luck himself into it, man. He willed it out. He gutted it out and he willed it out. He got a takedown and he got the ground and pound finish, right? I think that people are thinking purely on the feet, Chase Sherman will pick apart Josh Parisian. And to a degree, you might be partially right. But this isn't a boxing fight. This isn't a kickboxing fight. Josh Parisian, when he's in deep waters, when it's the heavyweight division, you're getting cracked on and a dude has a speed advantage against you, what do? You close the distance, you take him down, and you take away all of that, bro. And I just think Josh Parisian is going to be able to do that in this fight against Chase Sherman. Not because I don't like Chase Sherman, because to look at Chase Sherman's last losses. Alexander Romanov. Okay, that's not fair. I think that might have been a short notice replacement. That's just taking one for the team, right? Jake Collier, the hybrid, very much like a Josh Parisian to a degree, you get choked out. Parker Porter, you get decisioned. Andre Arlovsky, you get decisioned. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. The last win prior to the Vandera win was the Ike Villanueva fight. And Ike Villanueva, even though we know and love Ike Villanueva, right? Kind of same caliber, right? Not a complete mixed martial artist at the highest of levels. Fantastic fighter, but we're talking about the highest of levels in the UFC right here. I just think Josh Parisian is going to get it done. He's going to be able to mix it up. And if we know anything about him that we learned in his last fight, the dude can gut it out, man. And that's what you need right here. Then again, AJ, this is the heavyweight division. And if you're betting on simply someone getting a finish, I could see Chase Sherman just starching him and it being it like that. But if you were a betting man, and clearly you are, we both are being on this program, and you had to bet on the dude who could one-shot start you or the dude who can pretty much dominate you throughout the entire course of a fight, regardless of where it goes, striking or grappling, I mean, what do you bet on?
Man, I bet on the one who can always pull it out at the end of the day, man. I bet on the gamer. Yeah. The one-shot knockout, it's great to see. But what I like most about Josh Parisian is this dude can will a win out of nowhere, and he's going to be down for the scrap always and forever, man. And don't get me wrong, Chase Sherman is the same way. Yeah. But we have seen Chase Sherman wilt of sorts. I wouldn't say we've ever seen him quit. We've never seen him just turn turtle, and just keep getting beaten up. Chase Sherman's down to scrap, but I feel like Parisian has that kind of mental block that once he gets hit a couple times, no, he's going to keep going. There's nothing stopping that boy.
And I want to make it clear. I personally believe there is zero quit in Chase Sherman. I don't believe there is any quit. There's no way you can do what you're doing, being a badass, being a rebel the way he is, and have quit in you, man. You would have gave up a long time ago. I just think that this is a spot where Josh Parisian, given the size differential here as well, because it's not just a speed type thing, man. I mean, look, 260, all 265 of Josh Parisian versus like a slim hybrid Chase Sherman who could probably be coming in he's listed at 250. I just think you get that ground and pound situation, man. Look at what he was able to do to Alan Boudreaux. I think he'd be able to do it to Chase Sherman, man. I like Josh Parisian here specifically, man. And I'm going to actually rock with the TKO. I see a takedown and I see some ground and pound. And in the heavyweights, it's hard to get out of that spot. Give me the over 1.5 rounds, Josh Parisian TKO.
Over 1.5, Derek. That's the only part I'm kind of still debating right now, man. Because I like that TKO. It's crazy to see. We've been going basically the exact same picks for these first 3 fights, but Josh Parisian TKO, especially with the ground and pound, it makes me happy, makes me excited. Even the Tapology community, man, they're all on the same boat with us. What's over under 1.5? Man, I'm going to take the under. I'm going early round 2.
All right, my man. And the odds makers, I mean, they like the over. -180 for the over, +150 for the under. I think Sherman could drag it out a little bit, and I think Parisian is going to take a little bit to get it done. Either way, this should be a fun fight. And let's not forget, heavyweight fights, they're not always guaranteed to just end in that first round, man. I'll leave it to that right there. But a fight right here that could go all 3 rounds. It could go 1 round, but we can also see something very similar to the last outing, man. High level. And I disrespected my man, Tagir Ulanbekov. I messed up on his name. I'm so sorry, folks. Hold on 1 second. All right, apologies, folks. Just like that, Tagir Ulanbekov. We had to put some respect on my man's name and change the title right there. Listen, dude, he's got a tough fight right here against Nate Maness, man. Like, this is going to be an interesting scrap right here. You remember Tagir's last fight against a Tim Elliott, right? Where I don't want to say Tim Elliott was being dirty, but let's just say the man did what he needed to do to get the dub, right? You go back to MMA decisions and you will recall that the vast majority of people thought Tagir Ulanbekov won the fight, that he won round 2 and round 3. However, when you got a Tim Elliott who's flashy, who's grabbing gloves to bring you in and elbow you, who's hitting you with an illegal knee and clash of heads and the whole 9, right, man? That's how you beat Tagir Ulanbekov, man. You make it a dogfight. You make it dirty. No, I'm not, and not dirty in a bad way. You make it a real scrap, right? Is Nate Maness capable of that, AJ?
Ooh, Nate Maness, man. There's a reason he's nicknamed Mayhem. This dude is scrappy, bro. He's a dog, and that's exactly what I was thinking when I was breaking down this fight, man. You wanna, because Ulanbekov, scary fighter, man. Gonna be around for quite a long time. How do you disrupt someone who's like that, man? Make him a little afraid of you. Every time you're throwing a punch, he's worried about it. Oh, shit, this is coming at me with his entire might and not backing off. I feel like that's a Nate Maness kind of fight right there.
But, right, Tagir Ulanbekov is a man of great composure. So even if you scare him off, just like Tim Elliott, hit him with screaming at him, in his face, screaming at him, coming at him, hit him with the just, crazy, flashy, all that, right? Come around 2 and 3, gains his composure, starts getting a couple takedowns. Oh, the fight changes, right? Here's what worries me about Nate Maness, man. Nate Maness is big. He's big, man. If you even look at the differential between them two, 5'10 to 5'7", 72-inch reach, 70-inch reach, all in favor of Nate Maness. He doesn't strike a lot, man. I think he can get behind in volume here, but more importantly than that, you remember what happened in his last fight against Umar Nurmagomedov, I believe, right?
Yep.
A simple recap of it, he got taken down. He got held down for 3 rounds against the striker, right? Umar, the striker. Yeah. Tagir, man, there's no secret. He shot 10 takedowns in his last fight, right? He only got 2 or 3 of them. Those takedowns are going to keep coming. Can you get up? And I think that kind of puts a stranglehold on this entire conversation because I think that's what it depends on. Ulanbekov will win this fight, in my opinion, if he can get to the takedowns early and often. You make it a striking contest with Nate Maness, you're liable to get hurt. You're liable to get caught, and you're liable to get finished against a dangerous Nate Maness, who I think is very game for this opportunity. Do you think, because I'm looking at the live odds right now, opened up -190, +160 in favor of Ulanbekov, have swelled just slightly, -210, +175 comeback for Maness. Do you agree with the money line?
I agree with it, especially with the wrestling prowess, the kind of style that's really, really taken over MMA for the meantime, man. I think it's going to be it makes sense why the odds makers are going this way. Although, if Nate Maness can finally stop those takedowns of all these crazy Russian Sambo fighters, man, and force a dog fight, force a fist fight instead of an actual MMA match, then we're talking something different. Then that's in strictly an MMA match. Ulanbekov, I see the favorite all day long. Now, we take that out of the thing and we're in a scrap, we're in a dogfight. Nate Maness. Now, the only difference is, can he actually bring that to fruition? I don't really know. So that's why I'm rocking with the odds makers this one. I see Ulanbekov as the favorite going into this fight. But don't be surprised, folks. Don't be surprised if we see a Nate Maness KO right here. Do something flashy, get caught. You're going to sleep. Maness got power. What do you think?
No, I agree with you there. I definitely agree with you. And I think Nate Maness in a dirty dog fight, man, I think he can put up a very Tim Elliott-esque performance here. But this is the real benchmark here, right? What's more impressive? Nate Maness finishing a Tony Gravely or Tagir Ulanbekov squeaking out a split decision against Alan Nascimento? And here's the reason. Let me frame it up. This is the reason why I framed that. Because Tony Gravely, fantastic grappler with real pop in his shots that everybody thought was going to come in and steamroll Maness. Maness gets the job done. Doesn't just beat him. You finish him. Ulanbekov fights an Alan Nascimento, who a lot of people also discounted right there. But Nascimento has fantastic striking and even better jiu-jitsu, right? You fight this guy. This dude has everything to offer you. No matter where the fight takes place, you still get the win. I mean, what speaks more volume to you?
I instantly right off the bat, man, I think that Tony Gravely knockout, because of how good of a wrestler Gravely is. But then you go and think about Ulanbekov, man, and how meticulous you need to be. Because like you said, Derick, Alan Nascimento, very underrated, but a very, very dangerous and technical fighter right there. I kind of got to go with that one, man. I feel like if it wasn't for that fight, Nascimento, would be on a bigger kind of a crawl right here. So credit to Ulanbekov for taking that from him. What do you think? Is it the KO? Am I being jaded right here just by thought process, or what? Or is it actually Ulanbekov's style that does him the best?
The KO had more shock value and awe value because we know even though Gravely is a fantastic wrestler, he sometimes chooses not to use it, right? Then you had a Nascimento who got taken down multiple times, tried to use his jiu-jitsu and just couldn't, right? Against the Ulanbekov who just controlled top control, smash style, right? These are these guys. He's ranked number 15 for a reason, brother. This dude didn't creep into the rankings for no reason. I like Tagir Ulanbekov here, man. I think the takedown is going to be there, and I think he's going to control the vast majority of this fight on the ground. But if it is on the feet, look for that 1-2 down the pipe. That's going to be the bread and butter of Ulanbekov. Nate Maness, make it ugly, make it dirty, make it nasty. Those are going to be your best chances of victory. This is the question, though. Plus 1,400 for the TKO, plus 550 for the submission, minus 105 for the decision. If Umar Nurmagomedov was able to control Nate Maness and not get a finish over the course of 3 rounds, I think it'd be a little bit difficult to think that Tagir would just come and steamroll this dude. I like a decision here, personally, but you have to tread lightly. Because I'm not going to lie, everybody on this card, we haven't really mentioned it so far, but everybody on this card that is a favorite, quote-unquote, I think is liable to get upset on this card. I think it's hard to have anybody solidly driver's seat. You're the favorite. Come on. This isn't one of those fights right here. Nate Maness can win this fight. I just think Ulanbekov take the game plan of Umar Nurmagomedov and just, listen, cruise your way to a win. I like Tagir. Give me the decision. I don't like the odds, so I would much rather take the minus 190 money line over the minus 105 decision prop, but I like Tagir Ulanbekov, and I'm taking the over of 2.5 rounds, of course. How you see it, brother?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Derek. If I'm putting money on this one, folks, if you're putting money on this one, folks, I go with that minus 190 right there, money line all day long. But since I'm having to choose, I like Tagir Ulanbekov. I like the decision prop. Makes a lot of sense right there. We'll see. It's so hard to go against that smash style.
Yes, absolutely, man. And that's the thing. We just got to see what do the judges want. Because clearly control time means nothing these days. It's every couple of weeks. They switch it up. Control time means nothing. Damage is everything. Oh, no, not damage. It's about control. Honestly, you just never know, man. But we're in Vegas, so it'll be interesting. All right, man, this is the opening bout of the main card, and this is a fun one, bro. This is a fun one. You got Grant Dawson, who now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, fights at the newly minted Kill Cliff FC gym over there in Florida, man. Formerly Sanford MMA, now Kill Cliff. And he's fighting a Olympic silver medalist, Mark O. Madsen. The Mark O. Madsen, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be a fun fight in the lightweight division, bro, because Mark Madsen is a madman who happens to be undefeated, man. 12-0. 12-0. A lot of people probably wouldn't even think that. They'd probably be like, oh, yeah, this Mark Madsen guy. He did say, hey, man, I need a little bit of urgency. I need to get some fights in. Come on, man. The clock is ticking. My man is a healthy 38 years old. Lord, Mark Madsen versus a young up-and-coming Grant Dawson, who's still up-and-coming, 28, 10-year age difference right here. But Marco Madsen, man, if the remnants of a man who's hungry to taste some type of championship level, a lot of miles on the body. But then again, man, this is a winnable fight against a Grant Dawson. My question to you here, AJ, is that we can get so excited and we could talk this entire time about who's the better grappler and who's more fundamental and what style of grappling is going to reign supreme. But oftentimes, when we get two fantastic grapplers matched up, we end up seeing a kind of low-ish level kickboxing fight. Do you think that's what we're going to be seeing in this matchup here?
100%, Derek, especially because of the way Marco Madsen and both Grant Dawson really like to fight. I see one of those fire fights where fire cancels out, or their best fire, cancels out each other's, and then they're now in a dogfight where they're just swinging hands in a phone booth. And if that's the case, Dawson, to me, the power of Dawson makes a lot more sense. Will we be able to see that? Because Marco Madsen is very much a stubborn, persistent technician in there. No matter what, this is going to be trying to shoot for you. He's going to be trying to dominate his wrestling. And I do think, and I can't remember if Madsen got a silver or bronze in the Olympics, but I do think that's what's driving him so hard right now at 38 years old to be able to get to some gold, to be able to get to a championship material. And that's really why we're seeing this dude really have a, not so much of a resurgence or a push to stardom, if you will. He's kind of not a low level fighter, but a low attention fighter. Not got a lot of clout to his name, It could be the fighting style. It could be the fact that, he just doesn't really talk a lot, but he is a very hard fight style to fight against, if you will. Now, the nice thing is Grant Dawson knows how to fight against that one because like you're saying, Derek, that wrestling is going to cancel each other out. Do you think we're going to see, like you said, a low-level kickboxing match where we're seeing technique, or are we just going to see a slugfest because there's nothing else we can do?
Well, I'm going to just give you a little bit of information, right? Put some respect on the Olympian, Marco Madsen, silver medal in the 2016 Summer Olympics, okay? Greco-Roman silver Olympic medalist right there. Champion, right? Champion, but you know what I mean. Olympics, brother, that's world-renowned right there. And I do think we're going to see a low-ish level kickboxing match, but I do think the takedowns are still going to be sprinkled in there because if you were a Marco Madsen, you almost have it ingrained in your DNA, you have to get the takedown. And if you're Grant Dawson, you're such a high-level grappler that there would be nothing else you want to notch underneath your belt than being able to take down and dominate a silver Olympic medalist fucking Greco-Roman grappler, brother. You tell me, though, man. Fight ends up against the cage. They're clinched up. Who has the upper hand right there? I would argue it's Marco Madsen. Greco-Roman wrestling right there. You can't touch the legs. Your grappling is literally built for cage wrestling right here in MMA. Grant Dawson, on the other hand, he could literally just pick you up and slam you on your head. You know what I mean? Like, Grant Dawson doesn't give a damn. Then again, look at that draw that Grant Dawson had against Ricky Glenn. We know that Grant Dawson likes to start strong. Come round 3. What are we looking like? Marco Madsen, same situation, though. Come round 3. What are we looking like? Who's going to will it out in this fight, AJ?
Ooh, I think it's Dawson, but I mean, Madsen, that's the thing. They both can will this one out all day long. And to answer your first question, if this match is against the cage, who's going to get the better of it's funny because I'm thinking both people, right? You get Madsen against the fence, Grant Dawson pressuring. I could see Dawson getting some hips, getting a takedown, working for a takedown. Now you switch it around. Madsen pressuring against Dawson against the cage. That's what Greco-Roman's made for, man. Chest to chest. You're sitting there, you're getting those takedowns, and once Madsen gets his hands locked, it's basically game over. Now, man, if this one, if we're talking, you're both fighters against the cage, and they're jockeying for position. They're both throwing underhooks and rotating each other. I think Dawson gets the best of that one strictly because of the power. What do you think?
I think Dawson, never mind power, technicality, that's not it. His technique, trips, man. I think he's got very underrated trips. I think he's got a very underrated sweep game, trip game, ability to just get you to the ground without just having to pure out muscle you. It's funny, man, because like I said, we could talk the entire time about this and watch the fight and there could be 0 takedown attempts. Like, honestly, it could be that way. So that's why I don't even want to put too much stock into that. In terms of grappling, I do think Dawson probably is a little bit of a sharper striker, than a Marco Madsen. But Marco Madsen's pretty sharp too, got big power. Both these dudes got power. At the end of the day, in my mind, I don't see minus 220 Grant Dawson plus 180 Madsen. I see pick'em. I see minus 105, minus 105. Like, I see straight pick'em right here. I'm going to edge out the silver Olympic medalist because honestly, AJ, this is the last hope for this man. Back against the wall. Families had health issues. You're doing this for your people. Grant Dawson, on the other hand, this is a chip on his shoulder. You want to prove that you're the best. Marco Madsen, I just think his why is a little deeper, a little stronger, and a little more powerful. And I know that has nothing to do with the analytics or the X's and O's of a fist fight. But at the end of the day, man, I think that goes into it, and whoever has the bigger heart wins. I like Marco Madsen. Give me the decision victory right here, plus 225. I know I have a decision-riddled card over here in terms of my results. But at the end of the day, man, over and under is 2.5 rounds. And the odds makers like the over, so I'm going to take that. Clearly, you like Dawson. How does it get it done, AJ?
Yeah, Derek, this is one of those ones, like you said, the why may not be on the paper for as like, going into the analytics right here. But when you're faced with one of the hardest challenges of your life, you're gasping for air in those, last 12 to 15 minutes. That's when your why comes into matter. And that's kind of what worries me with this fight. Personally, I had the hardest time choosing between Madsen and Dawson. I'm sitting here back and forth, seeing how this fight can go a multitude of ways. I agree with you. This one's a pick 'em. This one's a stay away from me. But I like Grant Dawson, and so this is a hard one too because I'm debating. Imagine Grant Dawson is able to get the takedown, get a plus 375 submission on Marco Madsen. That's just right in home. That's story time. I think it's going to be a decision though. I'm rocking with this as much as I want that submission. I'm rocking with the decision. I'm rocking with the odds makers, going with the over. But man, that'd be something to write home to. I also, going back to what you were saying with the why. This is Marco Madsen's last chance to finally taste some gold. You know how bitter that silver must taste. As much as you're saying, no disrespect, because that is the upper echelon. You are the top, the most elite of elite wrestlers. But don't you want some gold around your waist? Then you're over there with triple cringe. Man, this one's a hard fight, folks. This is gonna be a fun one. I see why they're opening the card this night.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, man. If you look at Grant Dawson and you look at the last couple of wins, you got the Jared Gordon. That was a fantastic victory. Very surprising to see him choke him out in that third round, man. He just put it on him, honestly. Draw against Ricky Glenn. That last second buzzer beater win against Leo Santos. And then you got the Derek Minner win. You got the Julian Erosa, Mike Trezano. You got some good wins, right? Marco Madsen, though, man. If we're talking about someone submitting him, well, you just decisioned Vince Pichel, Clay Guida, Austin Hubbard. I mean, brother, that's not an easy task. And a lot of people, Vince Pichel as well, would probably argue, no, I won the fight. I mean, listen, man, Marco Madsen, if you can get past those guys, I think you might be able to get past the Grant Dawson. Those are the picks right there for you, folks. That is your main card. And now a little review, a little overview, right? We got very similar picks, 4 of the 5 fights, man. So we're rocking with Marina Rodriguez, Neil Magny, Josh Parisian, and Tagir Ulanbekov. Those are the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks. Now, folks, I don't expect any of you to sit here and be like, you know what? I'm picking favorites. I don't like that Derick guy. AJ, he's actually my guy. I really like rolling with his picks, or vice versa. I like Derick's picks. I don't really like AJ's picks. We don't expect you to do that. But if you do that, because it's natural, teams are only natural, I'm rocking with the Olympian, Marco Madsen versus Grant Dawson. My man AJ rocking with Grant Dawson. Whoever you trust the most between us two, take your pick. May the best man win. But just know, there's a little competition over here. You know what I'm saying? And listen, man, you get the win on me this week, we're dead even. We're back to 0-0. We're back to January 1st. Literally, we're back to the drawing board. So I definitely am hoping my pick is going to pay off, man. I'm just going to see that. So for one more time, folks, here is your overview. Marina Rodriguez, Neil Magny, Josh Parisian, Tagir Ulanbekov. I like Madsen, AJ likes Grant Dawson, but take a screenshot, take a picture, do whatever you need to do, run to your local sports book and cash in on your picks. But now, folks, it's time to move on with the rest of the show, and we got a couple sleepers that you need to watch out for. So let's get into it.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
Folks, we got some banger alerts right here in a stacked prelims kind of portion of this card, right? But I do want to give you a friendly reminder. If you haven't subscribed to this program yet and you're watching this deep, you should definitely subscribe right now. It's just right there. It's a click away. Don't even worry about the like. Don't worry about the comment. Subscribe. Share it with your friends. Tell them to subscribe. Vice versa. We get on and running, man, because we want to get to at least 500 subscribers in this, by the end of November. It is November 3rd when we're recording this. By end of November, I need 500 subscribers. Let's get it, folks. We got some sleepers, though, for you, AJ. And you have a pretty intriguing one, man. When I go and I talk about mine, I'm going to give you the 30-second elevator pitch, and it's going to be quick, short, sweet, and concise. What do you got, though, my man? How are you going to break down this sleeper? What you got, brother?
Ooh, it's a little bit harder, Derek, but I'm still going to try to keep this one as concise as possible, man. I'm rocking, excuse me, got me choked up. That's how excited this fight's going to be, man. I got Mario Batista versus Benito Lopez in the bantamweight division, man. I picked this one. This is going to be an interesting one. Both of these fighters are very good all around. They both got power. They both got speed. They got a multitude of ways in which they can win this fight going forward. But why I chose this fight is for longevity's sake, man. I can see both of these fighters. I was going to say even though, man, Batista a little bit more, Benito as well. I can see both of these fighters making a long-term stay in the bantamweight division or in the UFC in general. Both of these dudes are scrappy. They like to bring the fight. They're there for a war. They're a very crowd-friendly atmosphere. You see some submissions. You see some decisions. You see some knockouts. There's a lot of ways in which this fight can go. And for both fighters, it's the exact same way, man. Decision, submission, decision, knockout, whatever way you want to go, man. This is going to be a very, very fun fight to watch. And like I said, longevity-wise, these two are the people we're going to be seeing for a while. And like you can see right there, a lot of people are going for Bautista. But don't get me wrong, man. Benito Lopez is a dog as well, and he can be here for a scrap amongst the scrappers. It's going to be a very fun fight for a sleeper. Derek, what are you thinking? Who's yours?
Well, first off, brother, I just got to share right there. This is if you want to talk about a fun matchup right here, that's a fun matchup. Like when you put that one in, I was like, damn, I definitely could have rocked. I put my sleeper in first, and I was like, I still like that pick. Like, goddamn. My sleeper is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more along the lines of why you folks need to be watching this fight, right? So, folks, just understand. When I give you a sleeper, it's for its violence factor. It's for its finishing factor. It's for somebody is going to be in deep waters right here, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you. Today, we're going to be talking about a jiu-jitsu, a phenomenal IBJJF certified jiu-jitsu phenom right here, Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Tough 29 or Tough 30 or whatever, the most recent Tough, Ludovic Cholanon, right? This is a dude who is more or less known for putting his hand down and walking headfirst into punches because he does not care, because he's going to be on the front foot and he's going to be ready to scrap. Guess what? He's going to do that to Johnny Munoz Jr. Johnny Munoz is very conservative, laid back, wants to take his time, counter strike, pick you apart, shoot for the takedown, work the jiu-jitsu, and then move on from there. I anticipate this. Cholanon is not going to allow Johnny Munoz to be complacent. He's not going to allow him to work his game. He's going to pressure him into some high-level situations. I anticipate the ending of this fight is to be Johnny Munoz Jr. wins this fight via rear naked choke. I don't know what round it's going to be in, but Cholanon is nonstop excitement, nonstop entertainment, always walking forward, and he's looking to knock your head off. Now, the takedown's probably going to come on an overextended punch by Cholanon, because that's exactly what happened in his last fight against none other than the Jack Shore. I mean, come on, bro. That's a rough fight right there to take on your UFC debut. But you fight Jack Shore, you get another jiu-jitsu ace in your next fight. Luckily, Johnny Munoz Jr. is a much better jiu-jitsu practitioner than he is a wrestler. Either way, rear naked choke by Johnny Munoz Jr. I'm calling it. I like Cholanon to make this fight interesting. That is your sleeper right there. And with that being said, folks, I do think it's only in our best interest right now talk about a couple of these prelims and then hop up out of here. So, AJ, my man, let's run through a couple of these ones, man, because we do got some fun ones. So, clearly we already hit on Batista Lopez. We hit on Munoz Jr. versus Cholanon. Brother, the Maverick, Miranda Maverick versus Shanna Young. That's going to be a fun fight. Believe it or not, Miranda Maverick is the biggest favorite on the card. I believe right now, currently, she's at least like a minus 625 favorite. Don't really see why that's the case, especially because Miranda Maverick, even though she's very, very talented, even let's go over to the UFC and see what the current odds are. Miranda Maverick, yeah, minus 625 plus 450 for Shanna Young. Very talented for Miranda Maverick. I just think Shanna Young, even though she's kind of not had the greatest performances from time to time, brother, she's not a bad fighter whatsoever. She finished Gina Mazzani in her last fight. Last couple fights were against Stephanie Egger, Macy Chasson. I mean, those are tough ones. And would you look at that? That's probably why she's the underdog. She already got choked out by Miranda Maverick in Invicta. Makes sense. But now you get the UFC shot, brother. How do you like this fight? You're muted, brother. You're muted. AJ, you're muted, brother.
Ooh, sorry about that, bro. I had to cough and I guess I forgot. Yeah. But I like this fight, man. This one's a fun one. It's rough to see Miranda Maverick always relegated to the prelim cards and going up against a taller Shanna Young, man. You can see that 4-inch height advantage might come into play. I wouldn't say Shanna Young is one of the ones who knows how to use reach as well. I like Miranda Maverick a little bit more in this fight, but this is a very fun one to see how things are going to shake up in the future.
And you heard what I just said, right? Where Miranda Maverick choked her out in Invicta? Like that just happened like 4 fights ago. I mean, let's just disregard. No big deal, right? Listen, Miranda Maverick's going to have to put it on because there's nothing that scorns the heart more than getting choked out in the first round and wanting to get that one back. Shanna Young, I hope to see a valiant effort here. This is probably my favorite fight on the prelims that I didn't include as a sleeper because I do think this could be very boring if they don't handle it the right way. But Pollyanna Viana versus Jinh Frey. This is going to be a fun fight, man. Former atomweight champion and Invicta for Jinh Frey. Pollyanna Viana is coming off of, I want to say, a win, but it could be a loss. No, it was a loss to the Baby Shark. That's right. Baby Shark put it on her. Pollyanna Viana, man, how does she win against Jinh Frey? When it comes down to the wrestling, Jinh Frey is now a newfound grappler, right? She's really leaning into the wrestling. Viana, you can't just sit on your back and try to do jiu-jitsu. It's not going to work, especially against a Frey. However, I mean, I don't know. Viana could win this fight. She's longer, taller, rangier. I mean, what you think?
Longer, taller, rangier. But the thing is, man, we just saw a shorter, less rangy, more powerful Baby Shark absolutely put it to Viana. True. And I think we could see Jinh Frey do the exact same thing. If Viana can get off her back, stand up, and make this one a trade battle, then I see it. Then I see Jinh Frey having a little harder time playing tag right here. I like Frey for the most part, though.
Yeah, I like the live dog right here. Give me Jinh Frey, money line right here, plus 115. Folks, I think that's going to be a steal. Holla at me next week if I'm right or if I am wrong on that one. All right, my man. I just wanted to mention on this one, I don't even want to break it down, Jake Hadley, the return of Jake Hadley, 8-1, just lost his O, and now he's coming back to try to right that wrong. I think that's going to be interesting. Psychologically, if you're Jake Hadley, how do you approach this fight given that you literally just suffered the first loss of your career?
Man, and to a very talented Alan Nascimento, who we were just talking about. I think the best way for Jake Hadley, you got to get back in there, almost put yourself in the same positions you kind of felt scared of in that Nascimento loss. I think Hadley has the mental strength to get it done, man. White Kong's going to be coming back for a little bit more respect against a very dangerous Candelario, who we just saw him fight as well, didn't we?
Let's see. Last fight,
Tatsuro Tiara, man. Just it's going to be a good one, dude. I actually like Hadley in this fight, though. What about you?
Yeah, I like Hadley here, but you do have to. I mean, listen, Candelario's had a couple rough fights, man. Altamirano is a good fighter, fresh off Dana White Contender Series, lost that one. Tatsuro Taira, that dude's going to be a dark horse in the division. I think this could be a good scrap and a good get back fight for Hadley and for Candelario both, man. Because you got a dude who's coming off of the mental issues of I just lost my first pro fight versus the other dude who, you know what I mean? It's like shit. I gotta get a goddamn win, brother. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for even talking about this fight because people get so upset. But Tamires Vidal versus Ramona Pascual. A lot of people are not fans of Ramona Pascual right now. Not because she's not a good fighter. She's just let's say her last fight against Jocelyn Edwards rubbed people the wrong way. On both ends, they're like, these are the most boring fighters ever. And sometimes it happens, you know what I mean? But Pascual, she's good, bro. Vidal, I'm not going to lie to you. This is the one fighter on this entire card I just don't know too much about. But I do know that Ramona Pascual, plus 120 underdog. I need to know why now. I need to know why. Tamir Vidal, submissions, decisions, not that many fights. Interesting. I'm going to have to do some film study, folks, because I don't know. So I'm going to stay away in terms of leaning any side here. Just know this could be an interesting bout. AJ, do you got anything on this?
Man, this one's going to be a very interesting bout right here. There's very few times where a sleeper kind of falls short, folks, and Ramona Pascual is the sleeper of mine that fell very, very short. I think I can see why, or the only reason I think that a Vidal is a favorite going into this one is because she had a very, very hard fight against a Carl Hossa where she lost in the third round. She was winning the most of it, lost in the third round by that arm triangle choke. Other than that, man, I feel like people are just jaded against Pascual. She came in, has a lot of knockouts in the first rounds, and in I think it's the LFA. Where is it? It is Invicta. She has a lot of finishes in Invicta, but not a lot in the UFC. Kind of came in and has very much underperformed. I kind of like Vidal, and I'm probably going with that because I'm jaded. But either way, man, it's going to be a scrap, and we'll see how these females, you know, how it unfolds for them going forward, man.
And we're going to correct that right now because she only has one fight in Invicta. Ramona Pascual's finishes have come in a bunch of just random kind of regional, you know what I mean? She's fought everywhere. Yeah. She's fought everywhere. But yeah, okay, awesome, man. And then last one that we need to talk about, and this is actually a really, really interesting one right here. Darrick Minner versus Shailan Nurdenbecki. I did not forget about this fight, folks. You have to save the best for last. Shailan Nurdenbecki, do we not remember his last fight, folks? Like, come on, man. Yeah, it was against downtown TJ Brown in a absolute fucking war, man. And look at the fight before that. Sean Soriano, fight before that. Josh Kulabau. Brother, Nurdenbecki gonna put it on somebody. Is Darrick Minner the guy he's gonna put it on?
Woo! Nurdenbecki is like you said, someone's gonna put it on. But Darrick Minner, he's game. He's game with the most of them, man. If I feel like if there's somebody who isn't part of the Nate Diaz army, part of the scrap pack, but if I feel like as an honorary member, man, it's Darrick Minner. This dude is game with the rest of them, and he is down. This is another stay away for me. I can see both people winning. I can see Nurdenbecki coming back and smashing. I can also see Darrick Minner controlling the entire fight, putting it to him and just ground and pound all day long.
Yeah.
I'm rocking with Nurdenbecki on this one, man. I'm rocking with the Chinese. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, this one's a close fight.
Yeah, give me Nurdenbecki, but Darrick Minner is as game as they come. He's as game as they come. Shout out James Krause. Shout out Glory MMA. Game as they come. This is just going to be a fun fight. Don't even pick a side, folks. Just fucking enjoy fights, you know. But that's it. That is your prelim. That is the entire card right there. And we actually kept it in the sleepers. We didn't even move on to the prelims. Boom. There you go. There's your prelim pour-over right there. They're all sleepers. How about that? Honorary for this show. Every single fight is going to be a sleeper. Boom. There you go. All right, folks. So with that being said, one more friendly reminder. If you haven't subscribed, you should absolutely do that right now. Show a little bit of love to the Bloody Water Podcast. This is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show, after all. You already know what time it is. AJ, let the people know what else we got, and then we'll dip up out of here, my man. Last words for the people.
Folks, Derick has said it best, man. Make sure you get your subscriptions in. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends. But the biggest thing, you see the numbers this week's, folks. It's a very tight, close battle right here for that gold. And whether you're rocking with my picks or whether you're rocking with Derick's picks, hit us up on social media. Let us know. Make sure you share with your friends. We'll be shouting you out. You know we love and appreciate all the support you're giving. But let us know on Instagram. Let us know on Twitter, whatever ones you're rocking with, so that way we can give y'all a little bit of love and have that reciprocation back and forth. Make sure you're already sharing with your friends. You already know the deal. Derick put the number out there. I like always having a goal, 500 by the end of November. Without y'all's help, we won't get there, so we need your help going forward. Share with your friends. You already know the deal. Your favorite fighters, favorite fight show, winning y'all some money every single weekend. This is how it goes. Let's get it done.
That's right, baby. You know what time it is. Let's get on the board. Let's make some money. Let's watch some fights, have some great entertainment on deck. But at the end of the day, what we want you to do is we want you not only to subscribe, but to tune back in on Monday for the post show, UFC Vegas 64, the breakdown. And let's not forget, AJ, next week, what's the main event? I know you know. What's the main event?
Piero Adesanya, brother. Woo!
Enough said. This is the lead up to that, folks. You know they're always going to put a good one right behind one of these ones. Don't be surprised when this is a little more fun of a card than you think. That's it for us, folks. Until next time. Peace.